Hello, Starbase. Just have something to share with you today. Just wanted to let you know. Everyone in the manifestation space is lying to you. Okay, maybe not lying, but they're leaving out one crucial piece of the puzzle that determines whether the law of assumption actually works for you, or if you just spend months script writing in a journal feeling like a delusional fraud. We've all heard the Neville Goddard basics. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Change your self-concept. Affirm until it hardens into fact. But let me ask you a real question. How many times have you looked in the mirror, repeated, I am wealthy, I am chosen, I am successful, only for a tiny voice in the back of your brain to immediately whisper, no, you're not. Look at your bank account. Today we're throwing out the toxic positivity and the surface level TikTok advice. I'm going to share the one secret about the law of assumption that nobody tells you. It is the literal bridge between wishing for a reality and actually collapsing time to live in it. By the end of this episode, guys, you will know exactly why your manifestations have been delayed and the 2-minute daily shift that changes everything. If you're tired of chasing your desires and you're ready to start dictating reality, hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on notifications and get ready. This is going to change everything, I promise. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we break down the mechanics of reality, mindset, and human potential without the fluff. Let's dive straight into this problem. Or I would say challenges. I don't like to use the word problem. Most people treat the law of assumption like a psychological chore. They think assuming means fighting their current reality. They spend hours trying to convince themselves of something they don't actually believe yet. Here is the trap. The harder you try to assume a new reality, the more you are reinforcing the fact that you don't currently have it. In the quantum realm, trying implies lack. When you try to be rich, you are broadcasting the frequency of a person who is currently poor and desperate for change. Neville Goddard talked about the effortless state, but nobody explains how to make it effortless when your physical reality is screaming the exact opposite of what you want. If you have bills piling up, how do you effortlessly assume wealth? If you're lonely, how do you effortlessly assume your specific person is madly in love with you? This brings us to the missing link. The secret isn't about changing your thoughts. It's about changing your nervous system safety settings. Now, if you're still with me, it means you're ready for the actual secret. If this is already making sense, drop a comment below saying, I'm ready. It helps the algorithm push this to more people who need to hear it. Here is the secret nobody tells you. Your subconscious mind does not care about what makes you happy. It only cares about what makes you and keeps you safe. To your primitive brain, the familiar is safe, even if the familiar means being broke, single, or stressed. When you try to assume a massive new reality like making $100,000 a month or being in a deeply secure relationship, your subconscious mind registers that massive leap as an unknown territory, and unknown equals danger. So what happens? You affirm for 3 days. Your nervous system panics because it feels unsafe in that new identity, and it triggers thoughts of doubt, fear, and anxiety to pull you back down to your safe baseline. The secret is this. You cannot assume a new reality until you make that new reality feel completely boring and safe to your nervous system. You don't need to feel ecstatic, hypervibrational, or over the moon about your manifestation. In fact, if you feel overly excited and desperate about it, You're putting it on a pedestal, and anything on a pedestal is out of your reach. Think about your current reality. You assume the chair you're sitting on will hold your weight, right? Are you screaming with joy that the chair works? No, it's boring. It's an absolute assumption. That is the energy we need to cultivate. So how do we actually execute this? How do we make our wild, audacious dreams feel boring and safe to our subconscious? I use a 3-step framework called the normalization process. 1. Normalize the identity. Stop visualizing the climax of your manifestation, winning the lottery, the wedding day, whatever it is. Instead, visualize the Wednesday after the manifestation. What does a casual Tuesday look like when you are already that person? How do you drink your coffee? How do you walk? You want to condition your brain to realize that this new life is just your normal everyday reality. 2. The of course mental filter. Whenever a doubt creeps in, you don't fight it. Your brain says you can't afford that. You don't argue. You simply pivot to the assumption of ownership with 2 words. Of course. Of course everything works out for me. Of course I'm selected for this opportunity. It removes the emotional charge and lowers the stakes. And 3, somatic integration. When you affirm, stop focusing just on the words. Drop into your body. Feel your shoulders drop. Feel your chest open. You have to teach your body what safety really feels like while holding the thought of your desire. The law of attraction is not a magic trick. It is a law of physics and psychology. Reality does not conform to your wishes. It conforms to your convictions. When you stop trying to force your manifestations through sheer willpower and instead focus on making your desires feel like a natural, safe, boring extension of who you already are, the floodgates will fly open. The physical world has no choice but to arrange itself to match your internal state. If you got value out of today's episode, do me a huge favor, guys. Huge favor. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss our weekly deep dives into reality creation. Share this episode with a friend who is currently stressing over their manifestations. Let's help them drop the effort. Leave a comment below, sharing the one thing you're going to normalize starting today. I read every single comment and can't wait to interact with you all there. Remember, you don't get what you want. You get what you assume you are. Stop chasing, start assuming, and I'll see you in the next episode. Stay powerful. Namaste.